Let's get started with our afternoon keynotes. Up first, we'll be hearing from Heather Wallace, CEO of Curology, and Katerina Schneider, founder and CEO of Ritual. Heather and Katerina will be interviewed by Groceryshop's Vice President of Content, Joe Laszlo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kat, Heather, it's so nice to be sharing the stage with you. Welcome to the Groceryshop stage. It's awesome to have you both. Our session is titled Pioneering a New Era for Digitally Native Brands. I'm so excited to talk about both of your companies, what you're doing, your trajectories, strategies. But let's just kind of kick off with the basics. Could you say a quick word about what you do for those in the audience who don't know you? And Kat, let's start with you and Ritual.
Sounds good. I'm Kat Schneider, founder and CEO of Ritual. Ritual is a health technology company that is setting a new standard in the supplement industry through traceable science and traceable sourcing. I started the company when I was 4 months pregnant, and I couldn't find a prenatal vitamin that I trusted, from heavy metals to artificial colorants. There wasn't really a product that met my standards. And so I set out to really reimagine this category from the ground up, and now we have one of the leading prenatal vitamins in the US. And a really great example of how we're setting a new standard is our multivitamin for women 18 plus, our flagship product. It now has a peer-reviewed and published human clinical study with a leading university, USP verification, which less than 1% of supplement companies have, and a traceable supply chain. None of this is a requirement by the industry, but it's a standard that we're setting.
Somebody's got to set a standard. Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's great. There's so much good stuff in there. Kind of classic founder story, right? An unmet need in the marketplace that you built a product you couldn't find, growth strategy. And I want to come back to the science-y piece of what you do, because I think it's a common point between both you and Curology. But before then, Heather, say a quick word about Curology and what you guys do.
Sure, great. Curology is a skincare company, and we were founded to make effective skincare accessible. So the way we do that is we are powered by telehealth dermatology, and we also are vertically integrated, and we can do custom compound of multi-RX ingredient formulas. We founded the company with a brand called Curology, focused on acne. Our personalized acne formulas are 3 times as effective as what you can get in your regular over-the-counter formulas. We also have a second brand called Agency in the anti-aging space that is powered by tretinoin. Tretinoin is 20 times more effective than the retinols that you're buying on the shelf. So we were founded as D2C, and we have recently launched our regimen products also into retail via Target.
Amazing. I want to talk to you about the anti-aging thing after, but right now, and we'll definitely talk about the expansion to becoming an omni-channel brand. But first, I want to give you a chance to kind of nitpick the title of the session, because we framed you up as digitally native brands, and I guess it's a fair question to ask if that's the way you think about your companies, or if you just think about yourselves as brands, or there is a vogue for like D2C is the phrase that companies like yours were using. But Kat, is digitally native a fair way of labeling Ritual?
The vision is definitely to be an iconic brand and a household name, but I would be remiss to not love digitally native, because it got Ritual to where it is today. It allowed us to really go deep on what makes us unique, a traceable supply chain, so people can actually look up the ingredients in their products and see where they come from and why. And it allowed us to create a traceable supply chain, and more recently create a certificate of traceability tool. People can actually look up their products, not just see where the ingredients come from, but the sustainability of the packaging, the certifications, and the clinical studies. So I love digitally native because I think it's what makes Ritual truly unique.
Yeah. Heather, Curology couldn't exist without being digitally native, given the level of personalization of the core product. But is that a label that you embrace, or is kind of like not quite right anymore?
No, I think it's like the best label to have. I truly believe that the digitally native brands founded, call it, over the last 10 years and through today, are going to be the brands that are the power brands 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Throughout my career, I've worked on a lot of really big, iconic brands that have been around for many, many years, and I'm just excited that a brand like Curology, I believe, is going to be a brand that we're talking about in 50 years.
Amazing, great. So There's been a big shift in the climate in the last 2 or 3 years for younger brands, challenger brands, digitally native brands, away from growth as the thing that you were judged by, and towards profitability as kind of the yardstick that folks look at you by. And so I guess I'm curious if you've needed to shift from a growth mindset to a profitability mindset. And Heather, you stepped into the CEO role just last year. Is that one of the things that you kind of stepped in to do? Is that part of your mission?
I think it is part of what I came in to do. At the end of the day, a healthy financial outlook is what's going to be sustainable in the long term. So it's really about a healthy P&L. It's about being able to drive the top line, deliver on the bottom line. If you're an established company, I'm sure any of the retailers out there know it's not one or the other, it's both, right? So how do you drive meaningful growth? How do you do that in a profitable way? That's just good business. And so helping the company not to feel like we're flip-flopping between focusing on growth and focusing on profit, but really finding that through line and putting some of the fundamentals in place to be able to better manage the P&L. That's all about protecting the future of our company.
Kat, are you finding that through line as well, being able to navigate between continuing to tell more people about Ritual and just kind of making sure you've got a financially sustainable business going?
Definitely, I agree with Heather. One quote that I heard a while back actually came from the investor world. I was a venture capitalist before I started Ritual. Ritual is actually a VC-founded business, and I've always been inspired by Reid Hoffman, who's a great founder and investor, and he said, if you launch a product when it's perfect, you've launched it too late. And I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, this actually doesn't apply to healthcare or something that people are putting in and on their bodies every single day. And I think the same thing with D2C and technology and investment. It's when it comes to digitally native brands in the consumer space, it's actually important to have both growth and profitability, whether they're venture funded or not. It's not like we can add in some advertising on top of our products. Our products have to sustain and exist on their own.
Yeah, great. Let's talk a little bit more about your evolution towards omnichannel and getting into retail doors. Both your products, or at least some of your products, you kind of are working with places like Whole Foods and Target, and that's just in the last year or so. And I'm curious about timing for that. You know, kind of what makes this moment a good moment to launch your brands with retail partners? Heather, maybe I'll start with you for that one.
Sure. So Curology, prior to launching at retail, the Curology brand itself within acne was more than $200 million. So we're a big player in the space. We are actually a top 10 brand in awareness in facial skincare. So there are consumers and shoppers going to stores with Curology top of mind, and they're not able to find us. And so 70+% of skincare is still happening in store, and we're really losing out on those consumers and on those purchases. So that's the reason for launching in retail. It's to be able to capitalize on the latency and the consumer awareness that exists. And also, the thing that is great and I love about retail is that shoppers trust the retailers that they choose. And so when you are on the shelf at a certain retailer and you have the right partner, the consumer or the shopper goes to the shelf and they're like, yes, you know, this is a credible, real brand that I can trust because I trust my retailer. And so that's a great relationship to have and to be able to leverage as we continue to grow our brand.
Yeah. Kat, what about for Ritual? Is it more about serving people who already know and love your brand, or is it about being someplace where people who don't know Ritual can discover you?
It's definitely both. So we launched in retail in a really kind of strategic and methodical way. We launched at Whole Foods first because it was an advised channel, and that means that people actually working at Whole Foods know about our products, they know what makes us different, and they can explain that to the guest. And that was really important for us because our product had so many layers, from clinical studies to certifications to even patents on the delivery technology. And that was the right first step, and they've been a terrific partner. Next, we went to Target because it's a mass channel, and what we're seeing is that consumers are willing to pay a premium for higher quality ingredients and products. So it's been a really huge success. A lot of the channels that we've launched were already #1, so it's pretty exciting.
Fantastic. I know it's an imperfect science, but I think we've heard quite a bit from brands that launching in retail actually does create a mini boom in people searching for the brand online as well. I'm wondering if that's something you've observed, you know, kind of in maybe the markets where Target or Whole Foods have rolled you out, or there's other ways to track that.
Yeah, we find that it's actually incremental. I think there's definitely this fear that you're going to launch, you know, in wholesale, and it's going to cannibalize your direct-to-consumer business, especially as a direct-to-consumer or digitally native brand, right?
Whatever phrase,
I hate the word.
No judgment zone.
So yes, what we found is it's actually incremental. People love the retailers that they're shopping at, and they'll go where their existing behaviors are.
Great. Let's shift gears. I want to talk a little bit about just kind of leadership and career trajectory. Heather, you alluded to this, but you were president of the Americas for Revlon before moving into the Curology role. Did you always know that you kind of wanted to find like an up-and-coming digitally native brand to lead to its next chapter?
No, not necessarily. I spent about half my career in the consumer health space, and then I ended up in a private equity-backed company, and then leading different beauty organizations, Revlon being the most recent. And I was introduced to our founder, Dr. David Lorcher, and somebody said, you really should talk to this company. They're really interesting, and you have a great background for it. And I spent a lot of time meeting with him and talking to him about how to find the right leader for his little small business. And that we ended up building a great relationship. And as I got to know Curology, I was so excited by the possibilities that I understand, having worked both on the healthcare side and on the consumer beauty side. I truly believe that right now the culmination of the coming together of health and beauty is a trend that is going to continue, and people are moving from reactive problem solution to proactive wellness, and we're playing right in that space. I also think that telehealth and easy access to physicians and doctors and recommendations and advice is going to play a bigger and a bigger role in terms of the brands that consumers are choosing and trusting in the future, because there's really a need for consumers to understand efficacy, to feel confident, right, to have data to support the choices that they're making about what they put on and in their body. And so I'm just really proud of the work that Curology does, and it's exciting to be part of something that I think is emerging.
Yeah. Kat, as a founder who is still leading the company that she founded, how has your leadership style changed, or maybe how's the skill set changed from when Ritual was a brand new company to today?
A lot's changed, and I feel like some things haven't changed at all. I would say that my role a lot more is focused on making good decisions, and also hiring good people and scaling what I know versus actually being the one doing the thing. And as a recent example, we hired a chief impact officer. She was the head of mission at Beauty Counter. Sustainability and social impact has been a space that I've always wanted us to go into, and we've always committed to sustainability, but more recently, last week, we actually announced that we're the first company in the category to publicly announce our carbon emissions by product. We have an ambitious goal of net zero, and so actually being able to hire best-in-class talent to fulfill the vision and mission that I have is probably the most rewarding thing there is.
Yeah, I feel like a strong and well-articulated, like not just business speak, but a meaningful mission is so important to any young brand that's looking to endure. I'm sure that's true of Curology as well, right, Heather?
Yeah, I think, and as I think I said before, that Curology was founded on a very functional mission of making effective skincare accessible. And as the brand has grown, we've really thought about, what is the difference that we're making in consumers' lives? And so we have elevated that mission because of the care that we provide through our dermatology providers and the relationships that we build. We can treat consumers from their first acne outbreaks all the way through their deepest wrinkles in the future. And so we really think of ourselves as helping consumers face the world. You face the world with your face, and you need to feel confident. So Curology and agency, both of our brands, were really about confidence that goes deeper than just skin.
So interesting, right? And the product set evolves so that somebody who discovers Curology as a teen stays with you guys over time. Kat, how about Ritual's product line? Obviously has grown and diversified significantly from like a woman-oriented multivitamin to the prenatal care to now a whole bunch of other products. How have you thought about that expansion of your product line?
Similarly to the way I said I thought about retail, just kind of slowly and methodically, we actually launched our multivitamin for women 18 plus as our first product. We didn't launch our next product for several years because we wanted to earn the trust of that consumer, and our customers started saying, hey, when are you going to make a prenatal? And so years later, we launched a prenatal, which is now one of the leading prenatal vitamins in the US. And I think ultimately it comes down to the customer. We think about our D2C customer, which is hundreds of thousands of active subscribers, as our think tank. And we asked them, like, what do you want to see next? And what we saw was over 90% of our customers were having gut health issues and wanted us to create a probiotic. And so we launched our Symbiotic Plus, which was a pre-pro postbiotic in one single capsule, best product ever. And it is now one of our best-selling products. We did tens of millions of dollars in revenue within the first year. And I think what's really incredible with that think tank is that we actually then survey our customers post-launch, and we developed a 97-page report to see how do we want to evolve the product, packaging, the marketing, what's working, what's not. And it's really kind of this quick cycle, which I think speaks to the power of a digitally native brand that does expand to omnichannel. Actually, yesterday we just launched our sleep product. We also have gotten into the proactive aging space with a skincare supplement as well.
It sounds like you both are trying to win me over as a customer steadily. But that's great. And I think it's another through line between both companies, that idea of like listening to the customer. And in the case of like your dermatology professionals, or in the case of your kind of like massive ongoing focus group, I think it's got to be very important to staying relevant as well. Last thing I really want to talk about is just kind of customer acquisition. We kind of talked about retail's role in that, but I'm curious, are there specific channels that are working very well as far as getting the word out, introducing Ritual or Curology to brands or to folks that don't know about you? And Kat, maybe I'd start with you on that one.
It's interesting, when we launched our brand, I remember all the press was like, the world's most Instagrammable vitamin. And literally made my skin crawl because I wanted us to be the most science-based or, traceable product. And it was really frustrating, and because we were spending a lot of money on advertising on Instagram. Hopefully some of you have been targeted in the past. If not, we're not doing our job well. But now I would say that the evolution of marketing is kind of a longer form content in a way. I think podcast advertising, as well as actually me physically going on podcasts and being able to tell the brand story for over an hour has been hugely impactful to the brand. And I think consumers are so inundated with ads and influencers that deeper connection is becoming a lot more important.
It's so interesting. We live in such a world of like soundbitey, short, like blippy kind of messaging that opportunities, especially for science-focused brands like yours, to explain the benefits and the science and the traceability and why those things matter, have to be important. So Heather, what about as far as finding new Curology customers? What channels are working really well for you?
I think what's interesting is what's old is new again, right? So everybody knows that the digital and social media space is getting really, really saturated, and that a lot of that available demand has been captured by new brands, and so it's getting harder and harder to compete in that channel. So we're really thinking about all the different ways that you can reach the consumer and when they're in the right mindset to be thinking about skincare. So the launch into retail at Target, consumers go to Target to look for new brands. It's a great place to drive awareness. We also think about, direct mail, radio, driving our digital business in non-digital formats is really important to the evolution of our marketing plan.
I love that some sort of old school marketing actually has a positive ROI, even for the most digitally native brand today. So we're almost out of time, but I wanted to give you both a quick moment to kind of look in the crystal ball and talk about what's coming next. So Heather, what is coming next for Curology? Do you see like specific opportunities for that highly tailored, kind of customized, dermatologist-led counseling and product to find new markets?
Yeah, so we're focused on thinking about how do we leverage our telehealth dermatology business to treat areas where customized formulas make a difference. It's not customization for customization's sake. If you think about something like acne is multifactorial, so there are different reasons that people have acne. Sometimes it's fungal, sometimes it's hormonal, and so different formulas actually make a difference in terms of the efficacy. There's way more that we can do beyond acne and anti-aging. We've launched formulas to treat rosacea, which is a really problematic condition that a lot of people don't even know can be effectively treated, and we're always thinking about what's new and what's what's next. And also, skin covers your whole body, right? So we're very focused on face today, but I'm excited to think about all the other opportunities as well.
Amazing. Kat, bring us home with kind of any next big milestones for Ritual.
Yeah, definitely. So for us, it's not just creating best-in-class products, it's actually setting new standards in the category. A big focus of ours recently and in the future will be advocacy. So 2 areas that we're focused on when it comes to advocacy are heavy metals. So we launched plant-based proteins are notoriously high in heavy metals, and yet there are really no health measures for heavy metals in the industry, which is crazy. And the second thing is clinical studies. So we have a commitment to have clinical studies by 2030 on every single one of our products. It's not a requirement by the industry, but there's also no regulation around the term clinically studied. It's often misused, and we need better definitions. So we're really pushing the industry forward, not just for our products, but for consumers' health, and that's personally really important to my own mission, but also the mission of Ritual.
A great last word. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you all.